In a world marked by shifting alliances and evolving geopolitical landscapes, the unfolding trade tensions between Canada and the United States offer a dramatic narrative worthy of any seasoned political analyst's attention. The recent imposition of a 25% tariff on U.S. products by Canada has sparked a trade war of unprecedented proportions, raising the question of whether this marks the beginning of a strategic breakup between these two historically close allies. The decision by Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney to enact these tariffs at precisely 12:01 a.m. reflects a bold stance against America's trade policies. It's a clear signal that Canada will no longer tolerate what it perceives as manipulation from its southern neighbor. This move is not just about imposing tariffs, it's about a broader movement of economic nationalism. The Buy Canada movement, which encourages citizens to favor domestic products over American ones, is gaining traction. Meanwhile, tourism from Canada to the U.S. has plummeted by an astonishing 70% to 85%, indicating a significant shift in public sentiment. It's not just Canada that's reevaluating its relationship with the U.S. Countries across Europe, Australia, Mexico, and South America are watching closely, viewing Canada as a model for standing up to what many perceive as Trump's overreach in trade policies. Prime Minister Carney's speech in Richmond underscored this seismic shift. He declared that the U.S.-centric global trade system, which has delivered prosperity for decades, is no longer relevant in today's world. Canada, he emphasized, would actively work to rebuild its economy, seeking more reliable international partners. This represents a significant step towards asserting Canada's economic independence, minimizing risks from political and trade volatility, and creating opportunities for its domestic industries to flourish. In a particularly bold move, Canada has also reconsidered its $19 billion deal to purchase 88 F-35 jets from the U.S. Instead of proceeding with the full order, Canada will only pay for the first 16 jets and retain the option to select a new supplier. This decision sends a strong warning to the U.S. that Canada will not compromise on strategic issues and will seek more reliable defense partners if necessary. Refusing to buy the F-35 is not just a response to Trump's trade policies, it's also indicative of a significant change in Canada's defense strategy. Should this trend continue, Canada might turn to alternative suppliers to ensure its national security. But Canada isn't alone in this stance. Portugal has also canceled its plans to purchase F-35 jets from the U.S., citing concerns over Trump's policies harming NATO. These moves reflect a growing sense of America's isolation as more countries seek reliable international partners. The EU has rejected Trump's America First policy, signaling that the world is increasingly wary of unilateral U.S. actions. Canada's actions go beyond responding to Trump's policies. They signify a shift towards becoming a more independent international partner. Carney's emphatic statements, "We are responding as Canada, with purpose and with force. We will fight, we will protect, and we will build," resonate with the spirit of a nation determined to chart its own course. In this trade war, much like in hockey, Canada is set on winning. The implications of these geopolitical shifts are profound. Is Canada quietly cutting ties with the U.S., particularly in critical areas like nuclear submarines and radar systems? A $60 billion submarine project and a $6 billion radar system investment, both excluding American companies, illustrate Canada's intent to diversify its defense partnerships. The decision to bypass U.S. defense giants like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and Northrop Grumman in favor of Australian and French technology reflects a desire for sovereign surveillance free from foreign pressure, even if it means distancing from a long-standing ally. The reevaluation of the F-35 deal is perhaps the strongest signal Canada has sent to the Pentagon in decades. NATO allies, including Portugal, are watching closely, aware that unpredictable U.S. foreign policy poses a risk to unity. The era of NORAD as a symbol of unshakable trust between Canada and the U.S. appears to be waning, as Canada quietly builds alternative defense systems, strengthening ties with Europe and Asia. In this tumultuous environment, the U.S.'s internal policies aren't helping. The imposition of 104% tariffs on China, championed by figures like Caroline Leavitt, has thrown markets into chaos, losing trillions in mere hours. While some in the administration, like Peter Navarro, continue to advocate for tariff strategies, others, including Elon Musk, express opposition. This internal discord only adds to the sense of instability, with public remarks like, "Boys will be boys," minimizing the serious economic consequences at play. The irony in these tensions is palpable. The administration's deportation policies, including the controversial Alien Enemies Act, have drawn widespread criticism for treating immigrants and, alarmingly, U.S. citizens as threats. The polarization and chaos in society continue to grow, with the administration's actions further alienating both domestic and international partners. Trump's trade policies are not only affecting the economy, but also the lives of everyday Americans, who face higher prices for imported goods amidst stagnant wages. Globally, the response to Trump's policies is one of strong opposition. The European Union, furious over the trade war, especially in the automotive and consumer goods sectors, calls for emergency meetings to address these issues. Canada, too, has reacted strongly to the heavy tariffs on its goods, making it clear that retaliation is imminent. Countries that were once close allies now find themselves at odds with Trump's America, as the world watches this self-destructive move unfold. Amidst this chaos, the question arises, who are the real victims of this trade war? It's the American people, facing soaring prices and uncertainty. Trump's so-called Liberation Day, marking the beginning of this global tariff war, has resulted in significant market losses, leaving many wondering if the strategy is one of liberation or self-destruction. In this shifting landscape, the U.S.'s traditional alliances are under strain. Canada's reconsideration of its relationship with the U.S., coupled with its potential interest in aligning more closely with the European Union, marks a significant geopolitical shift. The idea of Canada joining the EU, although seemingly far-fetched, is gaining some traction. With 44% of Canadians supporting the notion, according to Abacus data, the possibility of Canada pursuing deeper ties with Europe is a topic of increasing interest. As the world watches these developments, the question remains, how will these geopolitical shifts impact global alliances and the future of international trade? The stakes are high, and the outcome is uncertain. What do you, our viewers, think? Will Canada successfully assert its independence on the global stage? And what will this mean for its relationship with the U.S.? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you've made it this far, you're clearly invested in understanding these complex global dynamics. Why not stick around for more insights by subscribing to our channel? Hit that like button if you found this analysis thought-provoking, and don't forget to leave a comment with your perspective. Let's keep the conversation going as we navigate these turbulent times together. The dramatic shifts in international relations between Canada and the U.S. are emblematic of a broader global trend where nations are reevaluating their alliances and trade partnerships. As Canada takes bold steps to assert its independence, it raises questions about the future of international trade and diplomatic relations in a rapidly changing world. Canada's reconsideration of the F-35 fighter jets deal with the U.S. is a potent symbol of this shift. The deal, initially valued at $19 billion, was a cornerstone of Canada's defense strategy. Yet by only committing to the first 16 jets and retaining the option to choose a new supplier, Canada is sending a clear message. It wants to diversify its defense partnerships and reduce dependency on the U.S. This move is not just a response to Trump's trade policies, but reflects a broader rethinking of Canada's defense strategy. The potential cancellation of the deal is a significant warning to the Pentagon, indicating that Canada's trust in its southern neighbor is waning. This shift is mirrored across the globe. Portugal's cancellation of its F-35 plans due to concerns over U.S. foreign policy is another indication that America's traditional allies are seeking more stable partnerships. The EU's rejection of Trump's America First policy underscores a growing international sentiment against unilateral U.S. actions. Canada's actions are part of a broader strategy to become a more independent international partner. Prime Minister Mark Carney's statements emphasize Canada's determination to protect its national interests and seek new alliances. The decision to bypass American defense companies in favor of French submarines and Australian radar systems highlights Canada's desire for sovereign defense solutions free from foreign influence. The reevaluation of NORAD, once a symbol of unshakable trust between Canada and the U.S., signals a potential restructuring of North American defense alliances. Canada's investments in alternative defense systems, including long-range radar and European technology, suggest a strategic realignment that could have significant implications for regional security. Meanwhile, the U.S.'s internal policies continue to create uncertainty. The imposition of 104% tariffs on China has caused market turmoil, with significant losses in a short period. The administration's mixed messages and internal discord only add to the sense of instability. While some officials champion tariffs as a strategic move, others express concern over their impact on the economy. The irony in the administration's approach is evident. While tariffs are presented as a means to protect American jobs and industries, they result in higher prices for consumers and increased economic uncertainty. Caroline Leavitt's flippant remarks about the administration's internal disagreements underscore a lack of cohesion in addressing these complex issues. Globally, the response to Trump's policies is one of strong opposition. The European Union, Canada, and other nations are taking steps to protect their economies and assert their independence. The potential for a global trade war looms large, with significant implications for international trade and economic stability. The economic impact of these policies is felt not only in the markets, but also in the daily lives of Americans. Higher tariffs mean increased prices for imported goods, affecting everything from clothing to electronics. Families face rising costs while incomes remain stagnant, challenging their standard of living. Globally, the response to Trump's policies is one of strong opposition. The European Union, furious over the trade war, especially in the automotive and consumer goods sectors, calls for emergency meetings to address these issues. Canada, too, has reacted strongly to the heavy tariffs on its goods, making it clear that retaliation is imminent. Countries that were once close allies now find themselves at odds with Trump's America as the world watches this self-destructive move unfold. Amidst this chaos, the question arises: who are the real victims of this trade war? It's the American people, facing soaring prices and uncertainty. Trump's so-called Liberation Day, marking the beginning of this global tariff war, has resulted in significant market losses, leaving many wondering if the strategy is one of liberation or self-destruction. In this shifting landscape, the U.S.'s traditional alliances are under strain. Canada's reconsideration of its relationship with the U.S., coupled with its potential interest in aligning more closely with the European Union, marks a significant geopolitical shift. The idea of Canada joining the EU, although seemingly far-fetched, is gaining some traction. With 44% of Canadians supporting the notion, according to Abacus data, the possibility of Canada pursuing deeper ties with Europe is a topic of increasing interest. As the world watches these developments, the question remains: how will these geopolitical shifts impact global alliances and the future of international trade? The stakes are high, and the outcome is uncertain. What do you, our viewers, think? Will Canada successfully assert its independence on the global stage? And what will this mean for its relationship with the U.S.? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you've made it this far, you're clearly invested in understanding these complex global dynamics. Why not stick around for more insights by subscribing to our channel? Hit that like button if you found this analysis thought-provoking, and don't forget to leave a comment with your perspective. Let's keep the conversation going as we navigate these turbulent times together. As the global landscape continues to evolve, the shifting dynamics between Canada and the United States offer profound insights into the complexities of international relations in the 21st century. With Canada taking decisive steps towards asserting its independence, the implications for the future of global trade and diplomacy are significant. The decision by Canada to impose a 25% tariff on U.S. products marks a pivotal moment in the historical relationship between these two nations. This bold move, announced by Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, signifies a clear departure from Canada's traditional reliance on the U.S. for economic and defense partnerships. It's not just about tariffs. It's about redefining Canada's role on the global stage and seeking new alliances that align with its national interests. This realignment is evident in Canada's reconsideration of the $19 billion deal to purchase F-35 fighter jets from the U.S. By opting to pay for only the first 16 jets and exploring alternative suppliers, Canada is signaling its intent to diversify its defense strategy. This decision reflects a broader trend among U.S. allies, such as Portugal, who are increasingly wary of relying on American defense systems due to unpredictable U.S. foreign policy. The implications of these shifts extend beyond defense. Canada's strategic investments in non-American defense technologies, such as French submarines and Australian radar systems, highlight its desire for greater autonomy in safeguarding its national security. This move away from traditional U.S. partnerships underscores a growing mistrust and a recognition of the need for sovereign defense capabilities. At the same time, the U.S. faces internal challenges with its trade policies. The imposition of 104% tariffs on China, advocated by figures like Caroline Leavitt, has led to market turmoil and raised questions about the long-term sustainability of such strategies. The administration's internal discord, coupled with mixed messages about the effectiveness of these tariffs, adds to the uncertainty surrounding U.S. economic policy. Ironically, while tariffs are intended to protect American industries, they often result in higher prices for consumers, affecting everything from daily essentials to luxury goods. This economic strain is felt by American families who are grappling with rising costs amid stagnant wages. The disconnect between policy intentions and real-world implications is a recurring theme in the current U.S. administration's approach. Globally, Trump's trade policies have elicited strong reactions. The European Union, along with Canada and other nations, is actively seeking ways to counterbalance U.S. actions and protect their economic interests. The potential for a global trade war looms large, with significant implications for international relations and economic stability. The impact of these policies is not just economic, but also political. In states like Iowa, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, once considered strongholds for Trump, there's a noticeable political shift. Recent elections have revealed a growing disenchantment with the administration's economic strategies, indicating that voters are feeling the impact of these policies in their daily lives. Amidst this geopolitical reshuffling, the notion of Canada aligning more closely with the European Union is gaining attention. With a significant portion of Canadians expressing support for deeper ties with Europe, the idea, while ambitious, underscores a desire for diversification and stability in international partnerships. Such a move would require significant legal and regulatory adjustments, but it highlights Canada's willingness to explore new avenues for growth and cooperation. As we navigate these complex global dynamics, the question remains, how will these shifts affect the balance of power and the future of international trade? The stakes are high, and the outcome is uncertain. We invite you, our viewers, to share your perspectives. How do you see these changes playing out on the world stage? What impact will they have on global alliances and economic strategies? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you're intrigued by these developments and eager to stay informed, consider subscribing to our channel. Your engagement is invaluable in fostering informed discussions, so don't hesitate to like, share, and comment on this video. Together, let's delve deeper into the intricacies of global politics and economics as we witness these historic shifts unfold.